Hi, welcome back to Anne's House of Six. I'm Anne, and I'm happy to have you back again this week. And this week I wanted to talk about pets. How does someone who is trying to save money or doesn't have a lot of money own a pet? Well, my initial thought would be don't have one. If you can't afford to take care of a pet, food, vet bills, etc., don't own one. But that's not so easy to say. And as a pet owner, I can understand why people want a pet, even if they really can't afford it. Pets provide such love and comfort and companionship. It's hard to say to someone, you don't need a pet, even just because they don't have the money for it. And maybe people will disagree with me. But there's several things about why to have a pet that I wrote down. Started thinking about it. And of course, the big one is that emotional support. You know, a pet, especially a dog, and I know cats do too, but especially a dog, they provide such unconditional love. And I feel like a dog is any pet is so in tune, usually, with their owner. And they know when there's something wrong with their owner, or their owner just needs some comfort. It also gives people who own pets a sense of purpose. So if you have a pet, you know you have to get up, you have to feed that pet. Especially dogs, you've got to take them for walks. The least you got to take them outside so they can do their business. It's something that keeps a person with sort of a regular schedule throughout the day. Two, with healing, pets provide a lot of healing, especially after a trauma or a loss of some kind. When people are dealing with grief, that pet can provide such comfort to a person and help with their mental health struggles or emotional struggles, things like that. Sometimes people get a pet because they misjudge the cost. They haven't really thought about what it's going to cost to feed this pet all the time, or especially vet bills. Vet bills are so expensive. Another thing, people get pets because it's the family thing to do. You know, a person's grown up with a pet their whole life, and they want to provide their kids with a pet and with that experience as well. And then there's also the rescue mentality of people cannot see a pet just left in the street. Or left at the Humane Society. They want to be able to take that pet and care for it, give it a home, give it food, give it love. So there's also that too. And, I don't blame people for wanting to have a pet, even if they really can't afford that pet. So I wrote a few things down of what can you do if you don't have a lot of money, but you still would like to have a pet. And I think the big thing with that is to focus on preventative care. So we have a almost 9.5-year-old. She's Black Lab and Chesapeake Bay Retriever mix. And I make sure I take her at least once a year to the vet to have her vaccinations and to have flea and tick medication. That to me is an important thing to do. So, even if you have trouble affording the once a year, see if you can work with your vet to maybe pay it a bit at a time and at least do once a year exam. The other thing too with that is try to spay and neuter your pet. That prevents other health issues with them, and of course prevents pregnancy with them too. So at least focus on preventative care. So at least the once a year exam and spay and neuter your pet. Another thing you can do when you don't have a lot of money is to, and you want to help them stay healthy, is to try to find a good dog or cat food, or whatever pet you have, a good food for them without breaking the bank. So we had a dog previous to the one I have now. The one we have now, her name is Harley. Our previous dog, Shady, we didn't do that with the food. We ended up buying a bulk food from a discount grocery store. We thought we were saving money, which we were, but in the end it caused her other health problems, and near the end she had diabetes, and I'm sure it was from the food. So before we got Harley, my daughter went and researched the dog food, and we kind of came up with a middle of the road dog food called Simple Nourish Source. So we've been giving her that since we've had her. Now, we first started out with chicken and then found out she was allergic to chicken. So we've ended up now, I've tried a couple different flavors of the food, but we've ended up now with a lamb and pea, and it's a pretty good food. Research the ingredients in the food because that's important. It is more expensive than buying a bag at the grocery store, but I think it's kept her pretty healthy and probably worth the money. You can also feed some healthy kitchen scraps too. I know a friend of my son, they feed their dog all human food. I believe, raw meat and things like that, but you really have to kind of know what you're doing. And I think you need to know what you're doing in order to feed them just people food all the time. I don't feel comfortable doing that myself. So we kind of supplement, like for treats, we will give her banana, thin apple slices, carrot. She loves carrots, so we'll give some thin slices of carrot, things like that. And that's kind of like her treat sort of thing. Pet supplies, you can save money on that. You don't have to have a dog bed or a cat bed. If you have old blankets or sheets, you can make your own bed for your pet. Blankets and old towels help too. They work well to make a bed. And grooming, you don't need to pay for grooming. My daughter usually bathes our dog when she needs it. So it might be every couple of months maybe that she gets a bath, but we do it here at home and my daughter does it. Grooming, I'm kind of lax on that. As far as brushing her, if you can brush them quite often, you can help keep them not only clean, but you can kind of keep track of any sort of ticks that are on them or anything like that. I need to do better with the brushing. So just basic supplies like a good brush, and if you have a dog shampoo, it goes a long way to not having to spend money on grooming and things like that. Now, saving on vet bills, that's a whole other thing. I looked up a few places that actually, they're online, and I'll list them in the description below. But they do help to provide low-income people with some money towards vet bills, but usually for urgent non-elective medical costs. So since I'm in Ontario, here in Ontario, there's the nationalpetcarefund.com. There is the farleyfoundation.org and pawscanada.ca. There's many more, but they help, as I said, low-income pet owners. The National Pet Care Fund offers a grant to cover up to $500 in financial assistance, and as I said, that's for urgent non-elective medical costs. In the United States, I found animalhealthfoundation.org, thepetfund.com, redrover.org, and as I said, there's more. Pet insurance. I've never had pet insurance myself. I think probably what you could do, if you can put $5 to $10 a month away in your account, that would go a long way towards any pet costs that might come up. I haven't done pet insurance myself, so I'm really not familiar with it. I'm not sure what the cost is monthly. I'd have to look that up. I'll look that up and put it in the description below as well. But I think if you can put, just like other things we've talked about on this channel, if you can put, let's say $10 a month away, just like, extended warranties I talked about in the last video, take the money you would have spent and put that away if you can. And if you can't do it all at once, then take, say, $10 a month and put that aside so that if an expense does come up with your pet, you have some money to help pay for that. So that's vet bills, and as I said, I'll list those organizations. You can take a look at those if you need some help with pet care. And exercise for your pet, especially dogs. They need walks and playtime. You can make your own toys, as we talked about. You can make, I know my friend has this mat. It's like a square mat, and there is scrap material that's knotted into the mat, and then you can hide their dog food in the mat, and it's supposed to keep them quite active brain-wise. It's similar, I think my daughter was saying it's similar to taking them for a long walk. Keeps their brain very active. So you can make your own. Use old fabric scraps, tying socks together, old socks together, something they can pull on. You don't have to go out and buy all this stuff. I know it's fun to go out and buy all this stuff, but if you're trying to save money, you don't need to. Even train your dog at home. Use YouTube. I've always mentioned to use YouTube to learn different things. And the same with training your dog. Use YouTube and their tutorials on how to train and correct behavior for dogs or cats. Cats you can't really train, can you? Supplies. I'm just looking at things I wrote down here. Facebook Marketplace. You can find secondhand supplies. There's thrift stores. For example, we have Value Village here, close to where I live, and you can get different pet supplies that are secondhand there. You can get dishes and toys and things like that. Ask for samples at the vet and at pet stores. See if they have samples for food. Maybe your pet has samples for medication that you'll need for them. But at least ask. I think it's best with your vet to be quite honest too. So if you take your pet in and it needs some sort of medical care and you know you can't pay, you can't put that large amount out at once, talk to your vet and see what you can arrange. Maybe you can do a payment plan, pay a little bit at a time, but keep it honest and talk to your vet. And then also you can lean on your community. So there's different pet groups you can find online where you can swap supplies. And also the food bank too. They do offer pet food that you can get as well if you need it. So that's just some ideas of how to keep the costs down if you do have a pet. And you know, pets are so much fun. They give such love to people that I understand why, even if people have trouble affording one, that they want to have a pet in their home. So these are some small ideas how to try to keep the costs down. So this is my little Harley. You want to say hi, her? She's 9.5. Black Lab and Chesapeake Bay Retriever. She's going to try to ignore me now. Right, Harley? Well, she's in pretty good health. My husband takes her on some good walks every day. And she eats well. You're doing good, aren't you? We get to see your pretty eyes? Not really. No, you're just going to keep looking away? Okay. Oh, there we are. Okay, so it's quiz time again. And our last quiz on the extended warranty video, the answer is B, that your credit card offers you another year on the warranty. So the best thing is to not buy the extended warranty and use your credit card to provide that extra year of warranty. So, what's our question for this week? Are you ready? Okay. So, which activity is both fun and frugal? A, going to a movie. B, library visits and park days. C, buying new toys. Or D, ordering takeout. So, comment below. I'd love to see your comments on owning pets and saving money while owning pets. What do you do if you have a pet? How do you cut down on the costs of care for the pet? And I want to see your answer to the quiz this week. And we'll see you next week. Have a great day.